Our biggest performance of the year in week 10 brought us a huge victory, and we are in a prime position to secure a playoff spot. What a week we had, FanWagon. I mean, we put up 175 points on Nathan's head. Our biggest performance of the year by quite a bit. Moves us to 6-4 on the season, and it starts with the quarterback, Jackson Dart. We might have found a gem here. Now, obviously, he has the concussion. He's in the protocol right now. He may play this week. He may not. It depends on how well he progresses through that. But I got somebody off waivers to start in his place if he can't go. But it does look like we have a guy for the playoff stretch here. Nathan had Baker Mayfield going. Obviously, he has a pretty good game. Doesn't quite match Dart. And then at running back, we had J.K. Dobbins on Thursday night. A mediocre performance. We talked about that in the trade video from the end of last week. And then Devon Achane. What is there to say about this man? Just absolutely putting the FanWagon on his back with 40 points, 22 carries for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He adds 6 receptions for 51 yards onto that. He is the MVP of this team. He is the leader of this team. He is the face of the FanWagon, and I might have purchased a little jersey that might be coming in a week here. Just because I have fallen in love with this man over the past 10 weeks, and we are going to ride him into the playoffs. Pause. On Nathan's side at running back, Jalen Warner and DeMarcado did whatever. Moving over to the wide receiver, Stephon Diggs with another touchdown. You know, I'm pretty sure he hadn't scored a touchdown when we bought him. Yep, that's right. Through the first 7 weeks of the season, 0 touchdowns for Stephon Diggs. Week 8, 9, 10. I made that trade right after week 7 going into week 8. 8, 9, 10, touchdown in each week. Sometimes a change of scenery is all you need with these guys. He has his best game since we traded for him, 5 for 46. With Drake May looking as good as Drake May is looking, I'm very happy to have Stephon Diggs going into the playoffs here. And Christian Watson was in my other wide receiver slot. He was whatever. I mean, he's just a desperation flex player hoping for a big play. There was one that was called back because of a penalty last night in the Monday night game. There was also a big one that he just barely dropped or the defender batted it away. But those big plays are definitely there. And now with Dobbs looked like he got banged up last night. Kraft is out, Golden's out. Christian Watson is set to be involved in this offense quite a bit. Nathan obviously got the goose egg from Garrett Wilson. And then Wandale with a mediocre performance in his other wide receiver spot. In our tight end slot, I have a shout out to give here because in the trade video, if you guys watched that one, I put it out to you, the viewers, to help me figure out this last flex spot. Obviously, he ended up in the tight end slot just because he played before Kittle, but I needed a desperation flex if Jordan Mason or Ray Davis weren't going to be in my lineup because the running backs ahead of them were healthy, and they were both healthy. So I needed a desperation play, and shout out to Sultani, all right? He put a little bit of a spiel in his comment here, saying it's not going to sound good, but hear me out, that I should flex Theo Johnson. He had a really good matchup, Jackson Dart. I had the stack, and it worked out. I mean, Theo Johnson, 7 for 75, puts up 14.5 points as my desperation flex. You will take that any day of the week. Outscores Nathan's tight end by a hell of a lot. TJ Hawkinson with 3 points. So yeah, shout out Sultani, who there wasn't really, I said I'd do the comment with the most likes. Nothing was really like crazy more than anything else. So I just kind of saw that and was like, I like that idea. And it worked out. Then in the flex spots, Travis Etienne, the new man that we just acquired, gets in the end zone. 16 for 58 against a really good Texans defense. I am very happy with that. And then George Kittle with his breakout game of the year. Obviously they were trailing. Some of this, I wouldn't call it garbage time because, I mean, they were pretty much out of the game. It's probably garbage time. But 9 for 84 and a touchdown. Very, very happy. His touchdown, keeping his feet in bounds, diving, stretching across the goal line was so sick. I love George Kittle. That guy's a freaking football player. With George Kittle, the issue that we're going to have is in games where they are able to run the ball more, he is going to be used more as a blocker because he is so good at that. These 9 targets come in a game where they're trailing pretty much the entire time. So I'm not going to expect this every week. It would be great if you could continue this with Brock Purdy potentially back again. I don't know. I could talk for an hour about how frustrating the 49ers are with these injuries, him and Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall. But If Purdy does eventually come back, that'll give Kittle a bump. The defense isn't looking great, so maybe they are trailing more and they have to do this more often. For Nathan's flexes, Puka with a quiet game per Puka Nacua standards. 5 for 64 and a touchdown. And then Jamison Williams with a big game. It just didn't matter. We put up too many points. Our kicker was whatever. I mean, the Niners didn't even attempt a field goal in this game. And then the Seahawks defense. What a call from the boys. I mean, 23 points, 2 touchdowns in the first half, by the way. DeMarcus Lawrence with both of them. Shout out to him. I just love targeting a quarterback who loves a turnover. And Jacoby Brissett is one of those. You'll see who we picked up for next week. Literally absolutely nothing of note on the bench. T. Higgins was on bye this week, so we didn't have him. But other than that, there's nothing to talk about. Let's check out how this huge win affects the standings. So with that win, we now have sole possession of third place in the Flock League through 10 weeks. What an absolute thing to be able to say. I mean, 3 weeks ago, we were 3-4. I think we were in 10th, just struggling, injuries, whatnot, all this stuff. And then our 3-week stretch here of beating Zach, Danny, and now Nathan has put us in a position where we are looking like a favorite for a playoff spot. Obviously, Sal and Mason both get wins this week, so we are 2 wins out of a bye. And it's looking unlikely that we will be able to get a bye week just because there's only 4 games left. The easiest scenario, which isn't easy at all, is Mason goes 2-2. We go 4-0 in the last 4 weeks, and we pass him in points for, which we're behind by about 80. So probably not going to happen. We're probably looking at 3-6. We're going to be playing in week 15, which I am absolutely fine with. I mean, the other playoff teams around us, Avery is a win behind. Bush, Thomas are also a win behind. And then you have a bunch of teams. Basically, the rest of the league besides Nick the editor is at 4-6. So at this point in the season with 4 games left, to have a 2-game lead, a 2-win lead on a playoff spot is absolutely huge. We just need to stay calm, stay grounded, not squander this, and we will be a shoo-in for the playoffs. So yeah, those are the standings going into week 11. Let's check out what we did on waivers. On waivers this week, there were actually 2 slightly appealing options this week, which we haven't had in a little while. Luther Burden and Jaden Higgins. 2 rookie wide receivers who have been getting more involved. Jaden Higgins had a big week, and Danny Ladd gets both of them for $12. I placed $0 bids. I don't have a lot of fab left. Then Zach picks up Sean Tucker for $6. Nick gets his defense, the Chiefs. Avery picks up Keon Coleman. Mr. Badaki gets Chimre DK, go Titans. Bush gets a kicker. We pick up our Jackson Dart backup, Aaron Rodgers, who is in the Unk Bowl against Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals again this week. I think he threw 4 touchdowns the last time these 2 teams played. That is correct. He put up 25 points, 24.5 points, 4 touchdowns. If Dart can't go, he will be our quarterback. Zach also gets a defense, and then Cedric Tillman gets picked up. So yeah, not a ton of action on the waivers this week. Let's move into our very important Week 11 matchup. All right, here we go. In Week 11, we are coming up against Avery, our last creator matchup of the season. So far, we have gone 4-3, beating all of Fantasyland. We took down Badaki, we took down Zach. We just beat Danny and Nathan in back-to-back weeks. And our losses came at the hands of the top 2 teams in the league, Sal and Mason, and then Bush, who we are fighting for the playoffs with. So now we have an opportunity to go 5-3 against the creators with this matchup against Avery. At quarterback, I'm currently projecting that Jackson Dart doesn't play. CJ Stroud didn't play. Obviously, most of the time, guys miss a week because of the concussion. Marvin Harrison had that weird surprise one a few weeks ago where he played the week of getting the concussion. It's unlikely. We're probably playing Rodgers this week, but I'm fine with it. It's a good matchup. He could throw for a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns. I'm hoping for a barn burner. Avery's quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, potentially the best pick of the draft. I mean, there are a bunch of options for that award, but Mahomes is the quarterback 1, and he took him really late. So this week, however, with the matchup at Denver, it's not that great. If there's any week I want to be coming up against this Mahomes-Rice stack, it's probably the one where they're playing the Broncos. At running back, we are throwing out Devon Achane, obviously, in a really good matchup against the Commanders. It is the Spain game, which I know the London games have a reputation of being really bad. Maybe Spain is different. I don't know. Has there been a Spain game yet? I'm not sure if there's been one yet. I don't know. Spain is just, hot and sunny and Ibiza and all this stuff, right? And it's like, it doesn't seem like it would be bad, whereas London is a little gloomy and maybe the games are grosser. I don't know. Maybe those narratives play into it. I don't know. But HN is projected for an enormous score. He's coming off a 40-point bomb. We're going to need him to have a big game if we want to take down Avery here. Our other running back is Travis Etienne at home against the Chargers. This is really a whatever matchup. It's middling. Hopefully we get a touchdown and some receptions, bump up those numbers. Avery's running backs, starting with Javonte Williams, playing in that Monday night game. We could have a Monday night sweat on our hands here. I hate when the players on the other team, I talked about this with the Xavier Worthy thing a few weeks ago against Zach. I just hate watching games when I'm just rooting for one guy not to do anything. And it would be even worse if it's the running back. I mean, Avery had this sweat a few weeks ago with Javonte needing like 15 points, and he didn't get it. And now we're going to be dealing with the exact same thing again. His other running back, Rachaad White, is benefiting from the fact that Bucky Irving looks like he's not going to play again. That injury is so weird, just like Ricky Pearsall's. But Sean Tucker got a little more work this past week, and I'm hoping that continues. Rachaad White does not look very good. He's never been an efficient running back. Sean Tucker looks a lot better. Hopefully that split gets to more of a 50-50 this week against Buffalo, and Rachaad White doesn't crush me. At wide receiver, our two boys that we acquired for Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs and T. Higgins, are out there. Stephon Diggs in the Thursday night game against the New York Jets, who obviously just traded Sauce Gardner, just allowed Jerry Jeudy to have a big game on them. And I'm hoping for similar from Stephon Diggs. The Patriots are huge favorites. Hopefully the touchdown streak continues. And then T. Higgins in this game that should hopefully be a shootout against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously against Pittsburgh last time, he went 6 for 96 and a touchdown. That was right before we traded for him. But I genuinely think that if we are going to win this league, it is going to be on the back of Devon Achane and T. Higgins, those two guys. And we got news yesterday and today that Joe Burrow could be back as early as week 13. We could be heading into the fantasy football playoffs, and this Bengals team could have Joe Burrow healthy, which would be absolutely enormous for T. Higgins, especially with the schedule that they have in the playoffs. Baltimore, Miami, Arizona. Oh my God. Speaking of the Bengals, Jamar Chase is right across from T. Higgins, staring him down. And if there's ever going to be a game that T. Higgins outscores Jamar Chase twice in a row, it's got to be this one. I mean, the last time out against the Steelers, they decided just to not cover him. He went for 16 for 161 and 1. Let's pray that we don't deal with that again. And then Rashee Rice, who I love as a fantasy football asset. He's so much fun to watch. And like I said, he's stacked up with Patrick Mahomes in that matchup against the Broncos. Hopefully they can keep him quiet. I doubt it. At tight end, George Kittle, we're hoping for another big game. Avery is rolling out Sam Laporta as he has all season. And then in the flex spots, I'm trying to manifest Ricky Pearsall returning. There was a tweet that came out saying that it was hopeful or expected that Pearsall would practice this week. I'm not going to believe jack shit that comes out of the 49ers until I see it. But he's in the flex spot right now. We'll talk about the bench and my other options when we get there. I also have Christian Watson in the flex currently. It's not looking great for these flexes at the moment. We can talk a little later about potential moves that I could make. But staring across from those two guys is Keon Coleman, who's similar to Christian Watson. It's a big play. And then Devontae Smith, who has been really good, seems to have sort of usurped A.J. Brown as the wide receiver 1 there in Philadelphia. So, I mean, hopefully Detroit can hold the Eagles back. We'll see. Skipping over the kickers to the Dallas Cowboys defense, who I picked up and will be playing at the Raiders, but Geno Smith loves a turnover. The Raiders really struggle to move the ball. Dallas kind of improved that run defense at the trade deadline, and hopefully they can stuff Ashton Genty, shut down Brock Bowers a little bit, and we can come out with a turnover or two. They obviously scored a touchdown against the Cardinals. Rest in peace, Marshawn Kneeland. And I would love to see them do that again. Avery currently has not picked up a defense yet, so unfortunately can't talk about that matchup right now. On the bench, we obviously have Jackson Dart. If he is healthy, I will play him over Aaron Rodgers. I don't really care about the Packers matchup. The rushing upside is too good. J.K. Dobbins, who is dealing with that foot sprain. Some people are saying that he could be out 2 to 6 weeks. He could go on IR. That would really suck. Thank God we got Travis Etienne. but it would suck to lose Dobbins. He has a really hard schedule, but he does have a few decent matchups, like the Commanders in week 13, the Raiders in 14. We definitely could use him down the stretch. Maybe he just misses this week and then they're on bye, and then we get him against the Commanders. And then Jordan Mason seems to be just a handcuff now. I mean, he's really not getting any work. And if that offense is going to be struggling to do anything with JJ McCarthy not looking great, I doubt Jordan Mason has much value. I probably keep him rostered because if Aaron Jones, who is hurt all the time and is old, gets hurt again, he's a starter. So I'm not going to drop him, but he's not touching the lineup if Aaron Jones is healthy. Then we have Theo Johnson, who was our hero last week. He was the one that I would have dropped for Higgins or Burden. I just didn't have the fab to get either of them. If I need a spot start and there's something on waivers better than Theo Johnson, he might get dropped. I don't need to keep him. I have George Kittle. And then the Seahawks defense, who I didn't drop because they have the Tennessee Titans next week. We know that Cam Ward and this Titans offense loves a turnover, and then JJ McCarthy in week 13, and then the Falcons, Michael Penix is looking bad, so they have a decent little stretch of games after this week, and they are the number one defense on the year now, so I would like to keep them, help me get a few wins down the stretch here. Avery's bench, he's got Caleb as a backup quarterback, nothing else of note here. Terry McLaurin has already been ruled out, and then Michael Pittman is his only bye week, which is nice that he's a little weak there, but this matchup is here for the taking. We're projected pretty evenly. He doesn't have his defense yet. He's going to go into the week projected to beat us based on sleepers' opinions of these player scores. But I think we got a really good shot here. And you'll see in the Flock League video that comes out on Friday morning that me and Avery will be placing a little wager on this game. So some extra stakes for this matchup. Obviously, it's a huge matchup. Avery's fighting to stay in these playoff spots. He's 5-5 now with probably a top 3 team in the league. Obviously, I love our squad. Avery does have a really, really good team and should be in the playoffs when all is said and done. But our schedule down the stretch is pretty nice. After this, we obviously play the Devs again, and then we face off against Thomas and then Nick the Editor. So all teams below us in the standings, all very winnable games. Imagine we end up 10-4. That would be absolutely crazy. Realistically, if we go 2-2 here, if we're 8-6, we're in the playoffs, hands down. So to try and go 500 with a team that is already 6-4, it would be incredibly disappointing if we miss the playoffs. The expectation is that we're going to get in there and that we're going to be fighting to take this thing down and to win $10,000. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any ideas of any moves that we should be making this week, any start-sit decisions, any random spot starts on the waivers that we could be picking up like Theo Johnson last week. I'd love to hear from you. As I say every week, this is not just my team. This is all of our teams. The FanWagon, it is a group. It is not one man. I am just the face. And there is no other community on YouTube that I would rather be riding this thing into the playoffs with. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like if you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button so that you see everyone after this. And check out my Dynasty Fantasy Football podcast if that's your thing, the Dynasty Arsenal. It'll be linked in the description. Good luck to all of you this weekend, and I will see you all in week 12.